And we are live. Welcome to this week's episode of the Bullpen Cart MLB Week 7 recap. I, of course, am Jordy Cannell, the G-Man. With me is my man, Greg Piatelli. How are you, my friend?
Couldn't be happier. Got like the rest of the world, have a 3-day weekend staring us in the face. Weather's finally turning here for the positive. So just hoping that hoping we get let out early tomorrow. But obviously, it's for the big boss to decide. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. Yeah, it's been nice down here. I at the last minute on both Monday and Wednesday got to go down to the Phillies, saw both of their wins against the Braves. So that's been pretty nice. Hence why we're doing this pod on Thursday. We're doing it right before the weekend starts. You were gracious enough to let me go off on my merry way and see the Phillies win on Monday night. So I'm thankful for that, Greg.
I love it, Jordy. Who would I be if I did not let the man who pods and blogs about Phillies, if I didn't let him go watch said Phillies?
Yeah, it would be a real shame. I'll just say that.
All right, what do you got for me, Jordy? Huge matchup. We'll do a quick little 5-minute recap. Huge series there for the Phillies. They end up taking 2 out of 3 from the Braves, or all 3, or what?
They did. They took 2 out of 3. If you haven't checked it out, I've been writing post-game recaps. Some have come out the next day. Some have come immediately after.
I read
the last couple of weeks.
I think I read 2 of them.
Yeah, so they did take 2 out of 3 in this series from Atlanta. They won Monday night, basically just off of 2 big home runs. They won 3-0. Nick Pivetta spinning another gem. The young guy really establishing himself as a bona fide starter, good number 2 or number 3 for the Phillies. Tuesday, they dropped that game due to a number of fielding errors, really in one inning. But really in the first 2 games, they couldn't string a lot of hits together. That would end last night on Wednesday, where they did win. They won 4-0 on the back of Jake Arrieta with another start. I mean, this guy, Greg, in a minimum of 5 starts at Citizens Bank Park, has the lowest ERA of any pitcher in the history of the stadium in 15 seasons.
The lowest ERA.
Because when he was with the Cubs, he would decimate the Phillies. And then he came, and he's been very good at home still. But those numbers from the dominant Arrieta Cubs years have really helped over. I think he's at 6 or 7 starts in his career at the bank. Good call, man. Bankable moments down at Citizens Bank Park.
Yeah. Speaking of great Phillies,
we're talking about Lenny.
Talking about Clay Buchholz.
Yeah. One time, I don't even think he played a game for the Phillies.
Listen, I don't know if you heard, but he just made a start for the Arizona Diamondbacks.
He did.
5 innings, 2 Ks, no earned. No, 1 earned. But pretty good. Pretty good.
The Diamondbacks, we'll probably get to them, but not so good.
Right, but Clay Bebe coming back, so I think the Phillies should reconsider their dropping of him.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
Anyway, Jordy, let's get into it. I got a hot team. Let's start with the National League. We always start with the American League. Let's start with the National League.
Give me it.
Little curveball. I'm going to go with the Milwaukee Brewers.
Great pick.
Swept the Arizona Diamondbacks at home. 2 out of 3 versus the Twins, and then beat the Diamondbacks 2 out of 3 before that, and then beat the Rockies 3 out of 4. They're stringing along pretty nicely here in the last couple of weeks, especially the last 10 days, which is what the pod is supposed to be about. And really taking themselves into first place in that Central Division, which you and I talked about last week, was wide open. Still, the Cubs are in 4th technically, but they're only 4 games back. So, certainly not running away, but this streak has certainly helped them get some distance and some ground that they can have a few games to play with here in terms of the loss column. So, that'd be my hot team of the week. We had high expectations for them coming into the season. I think they're finally starting to find a similar groove that they were in last year. Hopefully they can continue it. Jordy, give me your hot team from the National League for the week.
Yeah, really quickly on the Brewers, though, you kind of hit the nail on the head, but their pitching staff has been out of this world, but on both the front end and the back end. So, I mean, though a lot of those batters, which was what we were really high on, are starting to get into their groove. Some have been having a little bit of injury woes, but they're all really getting into it. Especially your boy Travis Shaw, who's now up to 12 homers on the year. But to answer your question, my hot team, a lot of slimmer pickings, at least in the National League for that. But I'm gonna go with, even though they had a interesting series with the San Diego Padres, but I'm gonna go with the Washington Nationals, who continue to claw their way back up into the NL East. We talked about the Braves and the Phillies battling up at the top. Crazily enough, with the NL East, and part of why I bring Washington in this is that Atlanta, Philly, and Washington would be 1, 2, and 3 in all, or actually 1, 2, and 4, because the Cardinals are now a half a game up on the Nationals. But overall, in or I guess 2, 4, 2, 3, and 5, excuse me, in the National League in record, because the Brewers have been doing so well. But the Nationals themselves, like I said, their pitching has been there, and their bats are really starting to wake up. We've talked all about Bryce Harper, left, right, all over the place, and him powering through a what's it called, a contract year. But it's something where,
but that's what everyone plays better. Everyone plays.
No. Certainly. I mean, and Bryce Harper's no different. But the one thing I was going to get at before I drive a little bit into player stats, the Nationals are still meh at home. They are under 500. They're 12 and 14. They're 14 and 8 on the road. And Nationals Park, not the best home field advantage in baseball, not by any stretch of the imagination, but it's normally good, especially in this most recent stretch for the Nationals. So, I mean, if they start putting it together at home and continue their play away, the Phillies and the Braves may start looking up instead of looking down at Washington.
It's because it's cold, Jordy. It's because Bryce Harper is a warm weather guy. Everyone knows that. Apparently, so is the rest of the team. But
I mean, he did grow up in the desert, so that's a good point, Greg.
Jordy, I think you hit the nail on the head. This week was pretty meh for the National League.
Yes.
They're sort of beating up on each other, and there are some teams like the Phillies and the Braves, two top teams that play each other, and obviously the Brewers we talked about, and the Cardinals are doing well, and sort of the National League race, if things continue the way they are, especially coming down to the wild card, is going to be
exciting.
Obviously, we're way too soon to talk about it. We haven't even sniffed the All-Star break yet, but things are close for now, and I like that there's no clear and cut favorites, if you will. Sort of everyone's sort of on that even playing field as for now. So I love it. I don't think there's a cold team. I think we should just stick with the one cold team, because the Arizona Diamondbacks are clearly the cold team.
Far and away the coldest team in baseball.
Yeah, for sure. And of the week for the National League. So I don't really think we need to differentiate. But sort of give a rundown. They got swept by the Brewers, swept by the Mets, swept by the Nationals, and lost 2 out of 3 of the Brewers. So they've just been, for a team that, again, we had as a hot team a couple weeks ago, and we're high on, but the thing that's really saving them is the National League West, which was the best, if one of the best, if not the best division last year in baseball, sort of looking like the American League Central this year. Sort of everyone's 500, and so that's really saving them right now. No team has really taken off, and the Dodgers certainly looking pedestrian, and everything like that. So Arizona Diamondbacks, definitely the cold team of the week. Jordy, what do you think the biggest what do you think their biggest weaknesses right now? Would you say it's pitching, or would you say it's offense, or why do you think they're on such a terrible losing streak?
Well, I think in the smaller scope of it, it's the pitching. That's what basically got kind of caught up. I mean, obviously, there's been a number of injuries, Robbie Ray being one, that have hurt them, but their batting hasn't been very good all year. That's definitely their main weakness, but their pitching was kind of carrying the team through the record that they had. And now it took a couple road bumps, and we're at where we're at this point. Their bullpen's not the best, so I wouldn't really I wouldn't be too optimistic on that end. If they're going to hang around, they're probably going to need to add a guy or two, like any team really does. But yeah, I'd say currently it's the pitching. But with guys like Zach Greinke and Patrick Corbin, who are normally good, they can certainly right that ship pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I would disagree. I mean, I hear you. The pitching is the pitching, but you can't expect a starter to give up 3 runs or two runs and still expect the team to lose.
Oh, definitely.
The offense hasn't scored more than they've only scored more than 2 runs twice in the last 15 games, 16 games. So, they interesting stat via the internet, the MLB.com, that on May 8th, the Diamondbacks were 24-11. Now, after losing, was it 13 last 14?
No.
They are 25-23.
That's nuts. I mean, think about it this way too.
25.
They only have 3 players on their team that are batting above 250.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's nuts.
So I would go ahead and say it's their hitting, but
in the grand scheme, yes. I was thinking in the the short term in this scope of a week and a half since our last general podcast.
When you think about it, like they lost the Brewers 1-0, 4-2, Mets 4-1, 5-4, 3-1. Like those are all low scoring, 4 runs, 1 run, 4 run, 5 run, 3 run. So they're pretty low there, but they're pitching. Disagree, but definitely the cold team of the week for both of us.
Absolutely.
My hot team of the week, no surprise, I don't think here.
In the American League, you mean?
Sorry, what did I say?
Well, you just said hot team. You didn't say which league.
Yes, thank you.
Had to make sure the transition was known, Greg.
Love it. Make sure you edit it when we go to pod.
Got me in the last one. So
100% has to be the Boston Red Sox, despite currently losing 6-0 in the 4th to Tampa Bay. But before that, they took 3 out of 4 versus the Orioles, 2 out of 3 looking like versus the Rays. Great week coming back. They got Pedroia coming off the disabled list tomorrow. They have the
lazy show.
Exactly. They have the most wins in the major league, 34. No other team has 34 wins, so they are the best team in Major League Baseball. Anyone who wants to argue it, you can come find me in the greatest city in the Northeast, Boston. So yeah, and the Red Sox, like I said, 34 wins and 7 of their last 10, and playing unbelievably and doing really well. So my hot team of the week, pretty obvious choice. Jordy?
No, it's a good pick. And your boy David Price getting into his groove a little earlier than he has in his first 2 seasons with the Red Sox. He's usually a post All-Star game bona fide ace, but had a really nice outing. Was it last night, right? He 3 hit the Rays.
Yep, and the game before he threw a complete game. So he's 2 game back to back, like you said, doing well. And I think I know where you're going, and I definitely, for the hot team, and I definitely agree. But yeah, I mean the Red Sox. Yeah, I guess it's Tampa and Baltimore, but Tampa's in 3rd in the division, and Baltimore has that guy Manny Machado who's going to get paid. So,
mountain of Comcast money.
So, I mean, I think I honestly I'm it is what it is, but the Red Sox certainly feeling good and playing well and looking good right now. 4 straight.
Well, we're probably going to get to him when we get to the top players of the week, but there's a certain man from the Music City that plays for the Red Sox that has had a very, very nice week behind him and is now taken over as the batting champion of both leagues.
Yeah, I mean he's been the best player all year, but yeah, we can talk about him later for sure. Jordy, tell me why the Houston Astros are your hot team of the week.
Oh, spoiler alert. Yeah, my hot team of the American League are the Houston Astros. I picked them. They've, in the last week and a half, taken 2 of 3 from the Rangers, 2 of 3 from the Angels, 2 of 3 from the Indians, and a 2-game sweep of the San Francisco Giants. They're currently up 8-2 in the bottom of the 6th inning against the Indians in the land.
Oh God, please.
But they're on a 3-game heater. And, I think they're starting to find their groove in terms of, the defending World Series champions. I mean, look at this, Greg. Their run differential is plus 110. They've scored 236 runs. That in the American League is third only to your Boston Red Sox, followed by the New York Yankees. But in terms of runs allowed, the Houston Astros have only allowed 126. Their pitching staff, combined with an offense that is now just starting to really get into a groove, I mean, that's just deadly to me. And I know they, if putting up 11-2 against the Giants, that is what it is. But pumping out 2-3 against a good Angels team on the road, 2-3 against the Indians. I mean, that's pretty good.
And that 126 is really why they're doing so well, because that's the best in the major league by far, far and away. So they are, their pitching staff is tops, and Justin Verlander has gone to a new level that I don't think anyone expected.
Not at all.
Doing better than he's ever done. I would argue even better than some of his Cy Young year. So
I was about to say, remember the last couple of years in Detroit when we're like, oh, is this guy done?
Right. Yeah, you're right.
Both good picks, and it's kind of the same situation. There's one or two American League cold teams, but really everything else is kind of the same story as the National League. A lot of teams beating up on each other in the grand scheme of things.
Well, yeah, I agree, and that's a division that the Mariners not going away, and
no.
The Angels, despite, and even the Athletics, despite the Mariners losing their best hitter there due to PEDs, but definitely a team that's going to be forced to reckon with coming down the stretch.
Certainly.
And certainly going to be there at the end of the year as they were last year, obviously. Jordy, I've been going first, so I'll let you take the easy pick. Who's the cold team of the week in the American League?
I'm going to go with the Toronto Blue Jays, who are coming down to Philadelphia as we speak. They are 2-8 in their last 10 games. Really just kind of having the wheels fall off on whatever they were having with their season. They were kind of hanging around in that third place spot, but after a nice little homestand of losses, aside from one win against the Angels back on Monday, the Angels or the Blue Jays are really in quite a pickle. They before getting 4 games swept at home by the Athletics, they split a series down in New York with the Mets. They lost 2 of 3 from the Red Sox. They lost 2 of 3 from the Mariners, 2 of 3 from the Braves, 2 of 3 from the Indians, or split the Indians. So I mean, they've really kind of gone off a cliff here. I mean, even on just statistically, they have Kevin Pillar. What was that?
Is that a Blue Jay joke?
No, it was like a plane falling, nosediving. I mean, if you want it to be a Blue Jay joke, it can be a Blue Jay joke, Greg. We can, we can do that.
I love it.
But I mean, just look at statistics though. Individually, their leading hitters, Kevin Pillar at 280, 11 home runs from Solarte is pretty good. But then their lowest ERA from a starter is J.A. Happ at 3.97. So not the best there.
Normally good.
Normally meh, since the Phillies dumped them up north. But
yeah, no, and you're right. And the Blue Jays, normally a team that does really well at home, and certainly
it's a crazy home atmosphere if you've never been to the Sky Dome.
Yeah, and certainly a division that you go on any losing streak, you're definitely not going to survive with how well the Red Sox are playing and that team down south are playing.
The Rays?
No, a little south of Boston. So
the Paw Sox.
Exactly. There might as well be a minor league team. So no, honestly, great pick and a team that didn't have high hopes for coming in the season, and they got out to a start. I think people were, people have pegged them at the third and fourth slot, and
yeah, they're living up to that.
Losing all those games in a row certainly has not helped. My cold team of the week is the Los Angeles Angels. A
Ooh,
little bit of surprise, a little bit of
that's a good
curveball.
pick. I like that.
And a little confusing because they just beat 2 out of 3 versus the Blue Jays. So you would think I'd pick the Angels to be higher than or the Blue Jays to be lower. But before that, they lost 3 out of 4 to the Tampa Bay Rays, 2 out of 3 to the Astros, split with the Twins 2-2. So sort of a team that has lost more than they won, obviously, and playing just under 500 ball in a division that the Astros are getting hot at the right time, and like we just mentioned, the Mariners are getting hot at the right time. So the AL West, you really can't afford to these teams, just like with the Red Sox and the Yankees going on right now, if a team has a 2-game losing streak like the Red Sox had last week, all of a sudden they get jumped in first, but now it really every 2-game loss really means something. So for them to sputter there like they did the Angels, that is losing sort of, what was that, 6 in a row, 5 in a row. So that would be my cold team of the week, just because you lose 3 out of 4 to the Tampa Bay Rays, who, good transition here by me. Tampa Bay Rays don't even have a fifth starter, and they run out there and start bullpen guys the majority of the time. And great transition by me. Jordy, do you want to explain the situation for the people at home
Yes.
after you talk about the Angels?
Yeah. So with the Angels, the one couple things I was going to say, it's they're really in a interesting situation because they have Ohtani, who now is picking when he wants to pitch, but he's doing very well at the plate. So I mean, that you can say what you will, the investment's worth it or not.
So
but they've had a little bit all over the place and having a number of different starters come in, whether that be from injury or making spot starts here and there. I'm talking about the Angels here still.
What do you, Jordy?
Yeah.
What do you mean he's picking when to pitch?
Oh, yes. To clarify on that, Shohei Ohtani he's supposed to pitch on Sunday in New York when they play the Yankees, and decided not to pitch.
Why?
I didn't see a reason. I just saw he's electing not to. I don't know if he wants to not make the trip or if he wants to play instead of play out in the outfield or DH instead of it. I didn't get a total reason there. I mean, he doesn't make starts. He doesn't make a regular start that often anyway. He'll sometimes miss starts just because for rest. So it might be for that. I don't know. I mean,
wait. He's not one of the 5 starters?
Yeah. So to give an idea, Tyler Skaggs and Garrett Richards are the only ones that continuously have gotten far and away the highest amount of starts. Ohtani's only made 7 comparatively to the 10. So it's been interesting of when he does it. He usually pitches about once every 7 to 10 days. It says that they're trying to Mike Scioscia said they're trying to manage his workload. I don't know if that's just that they're afraid that he doesn't want to get shelled in New York, but
yeah, because when he played the Red Sox, the team with the most wins in Major League Baseball, aka the best team in Major League Baseball, most wins. When he played the Red Sox, he got absolutely hammered and got his confidence for the next 3 starts. So
to kind of give an idea with that, his starts for this year have been April 1st, April 8th, so 7 days. April 17th is against the Red Sox. That's 11 days. April 24th, 7. May 6th, that's nearly 2 weeks. May 13th, a week. May 20th, so a week. So, I guess maybe they want to push it out to 7 days or 10 days instead of 7. I'm not really sure there, but it'll be interesting. I mean, like you said, against the Red Sox, he only pitched 2 innings. It's the only time he hasn't even made it into the 6th inning. In any of his 7 starts that he's had. So
I'd be so pissed. if I was if he was on the Red Sox, I'd be so upset.
Yeah.
There's no way. I mean, it's almost smart that he went to the Angels because there's no way that he would have lasted in any big time market. So,
well, I've seen on just from a number of different Yankees writers that I follow, and like some Yankee fans, whether they be from like Barstool or something like that, that they're all livid about this because I mean that's something that you'd want to see if you scheduled a pitch in your town. Like now we're getting into the NBA sitting category of embrace debate, but. Who knows? I mean, to be fair, he did pitch 110 pitches in his most recent start when they tried to let him go into the 8th inning. So there might be that. That's far and away the most he's thrown, but I don't know. I'm not Mike Scioscia.
It's funny because the Angels just played the Rays, and when the Rays did this relief pitcher strategy, and someone on the Angels, Zach Cozart, their third baseman, said it's weird that the Rays have been starting all these relief pitchers. He said it's bad for baseball. He said,
yeah. So to give a little background on it,
it's a spring training game when they start these relief pitchers.
Yeah. So to give a background on it, the idea, because the Rays can't really fill out their full rotation because guys like Jake Faria, their young starter, he's been banged up a little bit. But the idea is that they have so many young pitchers. So Greg, instead of throwing the scheduled rookie starters that they had on Saturday and Sunday, they had Sergio Romo. You might remember him from being the closer for the San Francisco Giants in their couple World Series runs. They had him come out and start the game to basically get through Mike Trout, to get through Cozart, to get through Albert Pujols, basically the first 4 or 5 batters, then bring in this who would be the normally scheduled starter, just pitch the bottom half of the order and then go back up to the top. It's really intriguing of what it is, and there's analytics behind it that I read that some of it kind of makes sense, some of it doesn't. And basically the idea is try to still let this scheduled starter, who's now a middle reliever, basically get 6 innings in, but delay the inning that the third time around comes up, because not really getting too deep into analytics, but as you might imagine, the third time that a pitcher faces the batting order, that's why getting a no-hitter or a perfect game is so hard. These guys figure out the rhythm. They figure out where the pitches are, where if he's tipping something one way or the other, it's easier to get a hit off of him. Between that and apparently in the first inning are the highest probabilities of getting a hit off of a pitcher. Why the first inning? Part of it might be, especially if you're an away team like the Angels were, the pitcher is pitching second, so he has a little bit of time after he's warmed up to get out of his rhythm, his arm cooled down. So the idea there is to let the bullpen guy just keep pitching, come in, start the game, let your scheduled starter go through his normal routine and all that, albeit delayed because he's coming into the second, maybe the third inning. So go from there. Whether it's bad for baseball, I don't know if it's going to stick. That's the thing. So it might be something. I mean, there have been a lot of these different things, whether it's been 4-man rotations, 6-man rotations. There's been a lot of different attempts throughout the years to try to, go out of the norm. But so I don't know if it's going to stick.
So it sounds like it's because they mainly have rookie pitchers, and it's funny because they had David Price, Chris Archer, rookie studs. Then you could argue that they threw their arms out, so maybe they're trying to build for the future, maybe. But Ian Snell. I mean, I don't know. It's crazy. I mean, they played the Red Sox 3 games and the 3 stars all 3 games. So
yeah,
I wonder if it's just a weekend thing, but I mean, I maybe in the playoffs I can understand, wanting a closer closers, or not closers, but like a bullpen guy who comes into the situation with the crowd screaming. I can understand maybe having them start a playoff game and then having a starter come in halfway through.
Yeah.
Just because we saw what happened last year to the Yankees ace there, and Minnesota in that playing game. Both starters couldn't handle the crowd in the first inning. So
bright lights, big city.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there could be something that mentally, but
big sports town.
Yeah, there could be something said mentally, but I don't know. I'm not a fan. Not a fan. Jordy, quick transition. Do you mind if we skip cold players a week and just do hot players?
Yeah, let's just do hot players, and we'll skip the cold players. We'll be positive going into the warm weekend of Memorial Day.
I love it. I'll
let you start though.
American League, or do you want to do National League? You tell me.
I'll start in the AL.
Well, I mean,
hard to beat a couple guys in the AL.
I mean, obviously, I'm going my man, Mookie Betts.
Yeah, tough to not pick him.
Yeah. Mookie Betts, absolutely unreal. Last 10 days or 7 days, I should say. 3 home runs, 3 stolen bases, 7 RBIs. hitting 435, on base percentage 1.47, 5 runs scored. Absolutely tearing the cover off the ball. Has 10 hits and 23 at bats in the last 7 games, and just been absolutely, like I said, absolutely destroying the ball, raking it in for the boys, and a big reason why the Red Sox are doing so well. It's funny because last couple of years under they've had Mookie bat third or fourth, sort of right around where Ortiz, either right after Ortiz or right before him, sort of protecting him or getting on for him, which it's funny because now that Alex Cora is here, used to be with the Houston Astros. The Houston Astros believe they should have their best hitters hitting first, second, third, and fourth. They want their best hitter hitting first so that he can have the most at bats. So
yeah.
It's funny, despite Mookie having all these power numbers, and Mookie's currently leading the the entire Major League Baseball, currently leading all of Major League Baseball, included those 3 juiced out, now 4 juiced out guys in New York. He has the most home runs in all of Major League Baseball. That strategy seems to be working. Having your best player hit first and get that extra at bat per game. So I guess it begs the question, Jordy, why aren't more teams employing a similar strategy?
Well, that's a good question.
Like Mike Trout. Why isn't Mike Trout hitting first every game?
Well, because you could put a guy like Andrelton Simmons on who can rake, quote unquote, get on base, and then you have Mike Trout just hit him in because he's going to hit a home run anyway.
Yeah, but at the same time, wouldn't you want Mike Trout to get an extra at bat, and you have the potential for him to get even, because the guy, just like Mookie Betts and Jose Altuve and now Mike Trout, all 3 of them can run, all 3 of them can steal.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Why would you not want to have your best hitter get that extra at bat?
Yeah, I guess it builds off of, on that same thought, kind of going back to that first inning is when the most hits happen. However it happens to be, especially for a home team. Granted, the Angels stink at home right now, but I don't know. I would think if you're getting guys on and Trout's, plugging out extra base hits and whatnot, why wouldn't you want him to try to get the early RBI and let your starter get into a nice groove there? I get getting more at bats. That's normally why you bat your best hitter third, or at least in the traditional sense. But to kind of do your point, though, we saw the Cubs do this with Anthony Rizzo last year, and didn't he go like 400 when he was batting first?
Yeah, and I think it works.
Yeah.
I think not old, but traditionalists, they get in their head that you got to have your best hitter hitting fourth. But no, there's something to be said about having your best hitter get that extra at bat. It puts a little pressure on the bottom line to actually get on base, but they can draw walks, and not for nothing, but the guys who we mentioned that it's working with them, they produce their own runs. They manufacture their own runs with home runs and stolen bases, and Mike Trout's hitting triples. And that's the only stat that Mike Trout is better than Mookie Betts is he has 1 more triple than Mookie has. But Mookie is literally leading the league in every offensive category except for triples. So Mookie Betts definitely hot player of the week. Jordy, do you just want to agree with me, or do you have your own American League hot player of the week?
So he's far and away the hot player of the week, but I will mention someone else.
If you say a New York Yankee, I swear to God, I'm going to sign off.
The only reason why I would have is because the guy I'm going to pick has struck out 5 more times than him, but he has gotten on base a lot more, and that's Jose Abreu of the Chicago White Sox, who leads baseball in the total number of hits in the last week with 12. It's 12 for 28. That is a 429 batting average. Add in 4 walks. It's a 500 on-base percentage. Second only to your man, Mookie Betts. Slugging percentage of 786. Only has 1 homer, but has 7 doubles. He did strike out 7 times. That's the only reason why I might have picked a certain outfielder from the New York Yankees. But I'm going with Jose Abreu.
Jordy, great pick. I don't know if you can hear me all the way down there in Philly, but I'm plotting your pick. I also thought you were going to go with Gleyber Torres, but
that would have been a good one too. But
we digress. Jose Abreu, that was my second choice. If you had gone first, I was going to let you take Mookie, but obviously you are generous enough and a great host to let me take my boy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean Jose Abreu is certainly doing well, and that White Sox team, bottom of the barrel, but playing 500 ball, and
Well, in
he
the last 10 games, not on the season.
no, but I'm saying he could certainly be trade bait.
Absolutely.
Anyway, Jordy, give me your National League hot player of the week.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with a guy that has done a very good job in killing the Phillies really up until last night, and that's Nick Markakis, who, he's been on an absolute tear this year, but he's continued that 10 for 24 in his last 7 days, or over the last 7 days, with no homers, which is a little slow for him, 2 ribbies. Got him a stolen base, though, so, he's getting on base. He's being productive. Hasn't scored a ton of runs. Atlanta did get shut out twice in Philadelphia. Not a big deal, but he's done a very good job of really being at that heart of a young Atlanta offense and providing some veteran leadership and really producing when they need it.
Good pick, Jordy, and especially that Atlanta Braves team where you could have gone with so many young guys and so many guys who are hitting the ball well. I'm glad you chose the vet who's showing them the way.
Well, crazy stat I saw on Tuesday night when both, speaking of their young guys, when Ozzie Albies, who kind of to your point of the best guy first, has been one of their best guys. He's tied he's up there. I think either tied. He may not be anymore for the national lead in home runs. And Ronald Acuna, when they both get on base, the Braves, since Acuna got called up, are like 10 games above 500. It's ridiculous how good they are. I don't have the exact number in front of me, but it's absurd.
Yeah, no, and when they're both in the lineup, aren't they like only have like one loss when they're both in the lineup or something crazy?
No, it's like when they both get on base, because it's like they have like, it's not one loss, but it's something. It's like 15-3 or something.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's huge. That's certainly the story so far. Early story for the National League is everyone's surprised by the Atlanta Braves team. I certainly know I am, and leading the National League East, which we all thought the Nationals were going to run away with, and some of us even argued the Mets. Not me, but some of us. No, my hot player of the week, Jordy, is a guy named Jesus, not Jesus Shuttlesworth, but Jesus Aguilar from Milwaukee.
Not the Jesus from the Big Lebowski.
Nope, not him either.
Jesus.
Not Jesus from the Bible, but Jesus Aguilar from the Milwaukee Brewers. Batting 400. Yeah, thank you. Batting 400 last 7 days, 9 RBIs, 4 home runs. He has hit and sort of 6 scored 6 runs himself, but definitely my hot player of the week. Sticking with the hot team, sticking to that sort of theme, even though he's on the cold team. But he helped in that 2 games against Arizona, and definitely has helped them out a lot this year. And as we mentioned, that offense is starting to come alive and taking first place of the Central. He's been a huge part of that. Definitely the hot team and one of the hottest players on that team, hitting wise. So easy choice for me. Glad you agree. I love it. Jordy.
Got to give a shout out to a number of St. Louis Cardinals, especially Tyler O'Neill. One of the only other guys this week to hit 3 bombs. Obviously, Jesus Aguilar was another one, but he hit 4. But Tyler O'Neill and a number of other guys, Matt Carpenter's up there, Francisco Pena, and Jose Martinez on a weirdly shaky Cardinals team, but they're right there in that second place spot in the Central.
Yeah, and we mentioned no one's running away with the National League, and it's impressive, but everyone's sort of hanging around, which is good. So give me your
nice.
What?
I said, it's nice.
Oh, it's nice. Give me your hot player or your hot pitcher, I should say, if you're ready for it. I have one if you're ready. If you're not ready, for the American League.
For the AL, I'll yield to you first because I have an idea of where you might go.
So I'm actually going with the bullpen guy.
Oh,
as it is the bullpen card.
You're the true champion of the bullpen, Greg.
I am the the biggest advocate on the bullpen card pod for bullpen guys. I actually have 2 bullpen guys, one for each league. So Joe Kelly from the Boston Red Sox would be my hot pitcher of the week, and I will tell you. Yeah, great choice. I know. Thank you. I'll tell you why.
2 Red Sox for your hot AL guys, huh?
I'll tell you why, Jordy. In the last 10 games, right? Not just 7, but in the last 10 games, I give the guy credit. He has 3 wins and a save, not normally the closer. 3 wins and a save, 0.
And a knockout on the year.
Yep, exactly. Repeat that again. 0 earned runs, last 10 appearances. Yep, I know. Super impressive.
Oh, yeah.
And he struck out about, I think the number is 10 guys in his last 10 outings. So talking about a guy who can throw 100 miles an hour, and certainly, every good bullpen has a guy who can get it to the closer, and Joe Kelly is starting to show himself to be one of those guys. Bullpen guys are always a fan favorite, and certainly Joe Kelly in the last 7, if not 10 appearances has certainly lived up to that. I know it's easy to go with starters like DeGrom and what have you, but Joe Kelly definitely for me, just because what he did the last 7 days.
No, for sure.
Impressive.
Yeah, I mean, you get to see it, and you get to see it every day. I like the the scouting report, Greg.
I love it.
Well, so that's going to change my AL pitcher of the week, because I was going to pick another Red Sox, but we talked about him a little bit. That was David Price. Yeah. I am going to go with James Shield of those Chicago White Sox. Like you said, they're playing 500 ball. James Shields has been a large part of it. Has not gotten the win, but only has allowed 3 hits. Kind of on that same point that we were talking about with the Diamondbacks, where the runs are few and far between, but the guy's only allowed 3 runs, and all of them were earned over 14 and a third innings. That's in 1.88 ERA, a whip of less than 1 at 0.91. He has 13 Ks and almost as many innings as he's tossed. So he's shutting down guys. I mean, it's kind of a sticky situation he's in, but good for James Shields. He's had a kind of a weird run in the last couple of years of where he's been, and how shaky he's been. So, good for him.
I love it. Give me, so I'll give you my hot National League pitcher of the week. And I think you're going to like this one, Jordy.
Okay.
I think you're going to like this one.
All right.
I believe his name is Sir Anthony Dominguez.
Oh, my boy. Oh, man.
Philadelphia Phillies.
Oh, this guy throws gas.
So in the last 7 days, not just 7 games, his last 7 days, Jordy, right? 5 innings, 0 runs, 4 Ks, 1 save, and 3 holds.
Yep. Including one last night.
So 5 innings,
a 4-out hold, mind you.
3 holds, and a save. So certainly a guy that the Phillies can trust. In his last 10 appearances that he's played in, again, 0 earned runs, averaging at least a strikeout an inning every time he's in.
Is it his only 10?
It's a great question.
Yeah, because he hasn't been up for very long. He's only been up for like 2.5 weeks.
Well, looking online, I guess it's his last 8 outings, because his 8 outings. But this guy could also be the rookie of the week. But
oh yeah,
definitely bullpen guy that I'm surprised you weren't all over, and I'm glad that I got in there to snake him from you. But Sir Anthony Dominguez, definitely hot pitcher of the week, bullpen guy for me. Jordy?
Love it. Love the pick. For more Phillies coverage, make sure to look out for my blogs, thunderblogsports.com. But I'm going to go with one of the arch nemesi of the Philadelphia Phillies. I'm glad you didn't correct me there. So I'm going to just assume nemesi is the plural of nemesis. Jacob deGrom is the guy I'm picking. 14 innings pitched, 21 strikeouts. He's only 1-0. But even better than James Shields' 3 earned runs, Jacob deGrom has only allowed 1. Yeah. And this is a guy who came off of the DL a week and a half ago, Greg. He only pitched 1 inning against the Phillies coming out of that. This guy is incredible that he can come back that way.
Right.
I mean, the Mets, like you said, some people on the podcast were a little higher of them. And, we didn't even have Stevie G on for the preview. So you can process of elimination, figure out who it was. But, it's seeing the dominance of those Mets pitchers still there. It makes you wonder if those bats get hot, how is this NL East going to start either cannibalizing itself and the Nationals, float up to the top, or does somebody float up to the top, or what is going to happen there? Because really, I mean, Drew Straley is doing well for the Marlins, but they're really going completely off of the edge there. But the other 4 teams, they're not going away.
So is this Serenity? I love it. Great pick. DeGrom certainly. I don't know if I like him without his haircut, though, or with his haircut.
It is weird. It is weird to see.
I think I want him to grow his long hair back. It's kind of like Andrew Benintendi. He went.
Did
hair.
he?
Well,
He cut his hair?
Yeah, before the season started. Not great. Jordy, should I pick up this Sir Anthony Dominguez kid in fantasy baseball?
In your other leagues, yes.
I don't know.
I mean, you're playing me this. Wait until the weekends.
I think I'm going to Boston.
All right.
No, listen, I wouldn't do that to you. I wouldn't do that to you.
No.
Listen, I wouldn't do that to you. So, Jordy, word around the Twitter sphere is that we have a fan question of the first 2 months.
We do, yeah. The first question we've had, but if you have questions, feel free to shoot us a DM, Thunder BLG, or directly to Greg at GTP Telly or me, Jordo9, and we'll be sure to answer them for you. Also, if you want to leave them on the comments on a blog post or anything like that, that works too. This one does come from the lovely Third and Girl. You and I talked about it a little bit on text on Sunday when it happened, but Odubel Herrera's league-leading on-base streak was thwarted on Sunday when Odubel Herrera swung through and struck out on a passed ball and ended up on first base. Now, Greg, should it have counted towards his on-base streak?
So
he was 0 for 3, so he already screwed up the chances there. This would be 0 for 4 with a strikeout, which I understand from reading the rule. That's why it doesn't count. So I'm guessing if it was an actual error like E6, it would have.
Wait, so why explain it again? Why did it not count?
I guess because Odubel Herrera still struck out. So like the defense made the error that caused him to get on base, but because he struck out, that's why it doesn't count. So I guess like if he put a ball in play and the shortstop fucks up the throw, that it apparently would count. I need to confirm it with.
So the only counter argument is, what if he came around to score, right? And
exactly. He would have been 0 for 4 with a run.
Then you turn around and gets a run and it's 0 on base percentage, but how did he get a run if he wasn't on base? So that's the only thing that I would say, but at the same time, the rule is the rule is the rule. Baseball's nothing if it's not stick to their rules no matter what.
As you said to me, baseball is all technicalities.
Jordy, you did mention that it was a big, it's a technicality that he's not on. His streak didn't continue, but again, famous line: baseball is all technicalities. That's literally what they strive to be as a technical sport. So,
he got on base on all 3 games against the Braves. So there's certain factions of Phillies fans that think that the streak is up to I think it would be 47 at this point, 48.
So on base record, if we're being honest, yeah, it's cool, but it's not like a hit streak. It's not like
That's true. It's not a hit streak.
It's not something that actually matters. Yeah, get on base is important.
It's longer than Joe DiMaggio's hit streak record, though.
I understand, and it's not the longest in Major League history, though, right?
No, Dubel's wasn't. You know who holds it, right?
Who?
Greg. Come on, man.
Give a history lesson to the people.
Well, it's your boy. Well, one of your boys. You have a lot of boys. Ted Williams.
I mean, Teddy Ballgame is probably the greatest baseball player to ever walk the face of the earth. You're talking about Ted Williams, a guy who fought in 2 World Wars, Jordy, 2 World Wars, left baseball twice, and still came back and was the best player. I don't know.
Do you have this? Do you have the projections of what his average would have been? How many hits he would have had if he had not been a good American and served in both of the Great Wars?
Last person to finish the regular season with a 400 batting average. Not a big deal.
NBD.
Or higher, I should say. And anyway, unbelievable greatest baseball player ever. Kind of a dickhead, I've heard, but we don't.
Yeah, apparently he was a huge asshole.
I mean, you don't fight in 2 World Wars and fly a fighter jet without being an asshole, but we digress. Jordy, great fan question of the week. I'm so glad we got one of those in. Real quick, Jordy, Vegas or Capitals? Think with your head, not your heart.
With my head, it's the Vegas Golden Knights in 7.
Ooh, 7.
Yeah. That's going to be a hell of a series. I'm excited.
So I'm going to go out on a limb and say
Hart wants the Capitals.
I'm going to say Capitals simply because I think Vegas was able to utilize the weakness of Winnipeg's 3rd and 4th line, whereas Washington's 3rd line is still pretty decent. Their 4th line notwithstanding, but their 3rd line is still pretty decent. So I would have said the 4 lines to better match them would have been the Lightning for sure. But I think at the same time, Washington's power play is too good to, for them not to win. The biggest problem, the reason why Washington lost those games to Tampa Bay was because they got too many penalties, and I don't think Vegas has as good of a power play as Tampa has, so I think Washington won't let up as many goals. The biggest downfall is going to be their goalie, and it's going to come down to the 2 goaltenders, and I think Vegas has the edge. But ultimately, I'm picking the Capitals, and I'm glad we're against each other on this, so one of us will be right.
A gentleman's bet.
Keeping the pod streak for perfect record intact per round.
Yeah, I mean, we can say that we've picked every single championship winner.
We have.
Somebody on the podcast as a podcast.
As a podcast. We're betting 1,000. I think the only one that we got wrong was we both selected the Predators. So
yeah, we did. We both selected the Predators last year.
I'm gonna go last series. Yeah, so I'm gonna go 9. We're betting 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I mean it's not a big deal.
Pretty good. I mean that's Hall of Fame numbers. So
I mean normally 350 gets you in there, and so 900. I mean times 3.
Go Celtics. Celtics in 6.
How you feel? How do you feel going back to Cleveland?
Celtics in 6. It's crazy what home court advantage does in basketball, because it seems like all these spot-up shooters for both teams and bench players for both teams only do well at home. So I do not want to face a Game 7. LeBron in Game 7 is too scary of a thought. With that said, I feel if the Celtics don't win Game 6, I'm not sure that they can win Game 7. So I think they have to do it now, Friday night. Personal opinion. Jordy, I'm so surprised that the other series is 2-2. That being Golden
State. I'm shocked. How about the end of that game? That end of that Warriors game on Wednesday.
Kevin Durant need to have the ball.
Or Tuesday. It was Tuesday.
Kevin Durant needs to have the ball. If you don't want the shot, don't have the ball in your hand.
Yeah. Holy shit.
If you don't want the shot, don't have the ball in your hand. That's my opinion. As a coach, you have to know the guys who actually want the shot versus your best player.
And then the Rockets almost fucked it up.
I wouldn't be surprised. Jordy, big thing came down last question before we skedaddle. Big thing came down about the gambling, and we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about it.
Yeah, that's true. It's been a while since we've done a podcast together.
It's going to go state by state, obviously, and it's not necessarily going to be legalized in every state. Like, I don't anticipate Massachusetts legalizing it. But with that said, do you think we have more Pete Rose scandals coming in the pipeline for all sports? And if so, which sport is the first to fall?
Well, the thing that like comes across me or that I think of is that they're so afraid of that happening because a lot of the commissioners have really come out and said we have to protect the integrity of the game and all that stuff. That there has to be some type of almost like they do in the securities business where you have to report your trades, like have a compliance department almost. You have to say if you buy, so I, when I've worked for, different broker dealers, I've had to either hold the stocks that I've owned there or I have to tell them I just bought XYZ stock for this many shares. If I sold it, yada, yada, yada. So I feel like something like that is probably the best solution. Whether or not that actually gets implemented, I don't know. It might be too convoluted, especially just because it's a sports team and that's adding a completely different department. Maybe they have something like that. I don't know. I don't work for a sports team. If a sports team wants to hire me, I'm looking for a job. So hit me up. But yeah, I mean, if I had to pick one that would get there, I mean, I don't think it's basketball because Adam Silver is like pretty pro gambling, but basketball is probably the easiest because football, you can shave points, but it's not as easy to do as basketball is.
I agree, and I feel like basketball would be the easiest. With that said, I think the first sport that's going to go down, basketball will be the easiest, but I don't think anyone in baseball will be stupid enough.
Yeah, nobody's dumb enough to do that. That's the thing.
With Pete Rose, I think hockey might be the first one to go down just because there's enough stupid white boys who are just like, hockey players are all that sort of
swag.
I guess sort of that attitude of like, not smart enough to know what's going on around them. So I'm gonna say hockey, but anyway,
it'd be sad.
It would be sad. I hope it doesn't happen to anyone, but for sure.
I don't think I really don't think anybody's dumb enough to try to get caught in that.
What sport is first? I said hockey. Give me one. And tell me why.
I'm going to say basketball.
Okay, perfect. Done.
Yeah.
All right. Jordy, great pod. As always, follow.
Fantastic pod. Glad to have you on as always, Greg. I know you had to run, but any good plans for the weekend?
Yes, I'm playing in a hockey tournament. And living the dream, playing hockey.
Selly game on point?
We'll see. We'll see. No. How did your softball game go? Did you win?
We won. We beat the defending champions who last season 10-runned everybody, and we beat them.
Wow. It's been a good pitching night.
Yeah, we won 6-4.
Wow, really good pitching night.
Yeah, your boy had the game tying run in the top in the bottom of the 6th inning, play 7-inning games.
Oh, is JSB there?
He was there. Jared played pretty well. He has his Happy Gilmore swing on point.
God. Oh, gosh.
He's the only person that I've ever seen playing any form of softball, pickup softball in baseball pants. Yeah, he wears baseball pants.
I don't even want to begin to go there. But give me.
You have to come down and.
What are your plans for the weekend?
I'm going to a wedding on Saturday, and then hanging out Sunday. We're going out to Harrisburg, where Third and Girl lives. That's where the wedding is. It's one of her best friends. Hanging out Sunday, coming back Sunday afternoon, night, and then either try to play golf if I get back in time on Sunday or play on Monday.
I think Third and Girl lives in Philly, actually. But
I said her parents. That's where her parents live.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
She lives somewhere in Philly.
Great pod. Talk to you soon. Love you, buddy.
All right, buddy. Well, thank you to Greg. It was a ton of fun. As always, find us on Twitter, ThunderBLG, Instagram, Thunderblog Sports, just like the website, thunderblogsports.com. For my guy, Greg Piatelli, I am the G-Man, Jordy Cannell. Have a good night, everybody. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.